Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
All right. Before I start my show, let me tell you something. This is the advice I give to all the young guys. I'm KSM, tell them, I'm a presenter. I want to be on radio. Do you know the advice I give them? I tell them this. There is nothing like a dull topic, but there are many dull presenters. If you have an exciting presenter, you can talk about brown paper background, now born some. Why am I talking about this? Because my next guest, man, this guy excites me. I think I said it here on this show before. I'm not that much of a sports guru. I mean, sports I see here and there, but I get, But this man, when he is on air talking about sports, I am captivated. Mitier, he makes sports sexy. Show him some love, man. He makes sports sexy. Who am I talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Show some love for my good son, Dan Kwaku Yeboah.
Legendary KSM.
Dan, you are the legend, man.
Nice meeting you, big boss.
Good to see
I'm
you,
so
man.
excited, man.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Please,
thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Dan Kwaku Yeboah. So we're taking a short commercial break. When I come back, man, we're going to be talking sports, comedy. We're going to be talking everything because Dan Kwaku Yeboah is in the house. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
If you want the Otumfuo of all shows, the Kofi Annan of all shows, it is the KSM Show. It is the Togbi of all shows. Once you get to KSM, entertainment, information, and education, you have it.
Yes, we're back. And you can call this Kwaku one-on-one. Man.
That reminds me back in the day.
Man.
It was a great show.
It was?
Yeah, it was a great show.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
It's good to have you, man.
Yeah, nice being here. Pleasure is mine.
You've done very, very well. And incidentally, Kwaku, these days, the guests that I'm hosting are all you people who have grown to become big people in Ghana, who are watching me when...
Yeah, you are right.
Everybody
watching you from afar.
Long ago, when I was a small boy, I was watching. So welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
It's an honor
Thank you.
for me to host somebody who I have seen mature into, may I say, greatness? You've done well. you know,
privileged.
your
I'm
sense of
privileged.
humor, your sports knowledge and everything. And we'll talk about everything. But can we start with sports? Because that's your angle, man.
Okay.
What is happening to the Black Stars, man? I don't know much. All I know is that the recent Sudan whooped us. And this is the first time we didn't qualify for AFCON. Tell me.
Yes, the last time Ghana failed to qualify for the AFCON was in 2004.
2004.
When Tunisia
Oh, okay.
hosted it. We were in Mali 2002 when Ben Kofi had started his 5-year development plan. So in that tournament, he took along Derek Boateng, Michael Essien, Isaac Boachi, the young guys, and dropped the Frimpong Mansons and the Ampiers. The public didn't understand him because we thought we had experienced players. Why would you drop them and go with John Mensah and the likes? But we made an impact in Burkina. Unfortunately, we couldn't qualify for Tunisia 2004. But since then, Ghana has been very consistent. Qualification has been our birthright since then, yes.
That's been our birthright.
Yes.
The quarter will qualify.
Yeah, because, you know, from 63, we were very consistent until the 80s. After winning the trophy in 82, we messed up in 84, the Boake debacle, where Coach Afrani was accused of taking only left-footed players. John Banaman, Kofi Abre.
And we all left-footed.
It was not true, but after the defeat, you know, Ghanaians, they accused him of taking along Ahmed Polo and almost all the players were left-footed according to the supporters, but it was not the case.
Oh my goodness.
So after Burkina Faso, after we messed up in Côte d'Ivoire in 1984, then in 1986 we couldn't qualify. 1988 we couldn't qualify. 1990 we couldn't qualify. Then Bukaziz came in 1992 and we qualified with the likes of the late Salif Wansan, Eddie Ansan, Damba Abubakar, Franka Mankwa, Abedi Pele, Joe Debra. We had a very good team.
That's a strong squad.
We qualified.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, Otuado won us the 1991 World Cup. And so he took over from Bukaziz and took the team to Senegal in 1992 with Abedi Pele as the captain. We got to the finals and lost to La Côte d'Ivoire. And since then, we've never looked back until 2004, where we failed to qualify. And after that, we've been consistent with the qualification, yes.
From where you stand and experienced as you are with everything, what is causing this, you know, this sudden decline?
Well, I believe growing up, watching you from afar, one thing I notice of you is that you plan your shows. So you could see some consistency and variation. There's a saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is what has brought our football this far. When, in the days of the Tony Yeboahs and the Abedi Peles, player exodus wasn't much of a problem. But when the Europeans started expanding their league and investing in their league, we're still treating football as a recreation. We're not investing. And it got to a point where all our best players were leaving the shores of Ghana. We still didn't realize that we could lose it. In 2004, when President Nyantechi assumed the presidency of the FA, we had Kotoko and Hatsofo qualifying for the Confederations Cup finals. We played the first leg in Accra and the second leg in Kumasi. So we started facing the reality of our inability to plan after 2004. You could realize that after 2004, our clubs started performing poorly on the continental level. And
Due to lack of planning?
Exactly. Because the whites were, I wouldn't say the white, the Western world or the best leagues in Europe were buying our best players. Instead of investing and getting the boys stay here, we also decided to dance to their tune. Tititon, let's raise them and sell. Unlike years gone by where players used to mature in Ghana before they travel. So once you travel, the possibility of getting a first team in any team that you find yourself was high. But this time around, we sell them around 23, 20, thereabout. We don't care where they go. It could be Tanzania, it could be Bangladesh, it could be Ethiopia. And once you do that, the resultant effect is that you are not going to get the best out of them for your national team. Tony Yeboah left the shores of Ghana to play for Saarbrücken. From Saarbrücken straight to a top team in Germany. becoming the first black player to win the Bundesliga. Abedi Pele from FC Dragons of Benin, straight to France, where he made name in Olympique Marseille. Prince Polly to FC 20. We had few players playing abroad, but they were playing quality teams. But nowadays, because of the Tititon policy, the players leave whilst they are not matured.
I see.
And so we don't get the
So
result.
like we're in a hurry to sell them, get rid of
Exactly.
them, and make the money.
Exactly. So the only way out is to invest in the local league, get the players to stay here, mature before they leave. Other than that, there's no way we're going to get a good national team. It was happening to some countries. Years back, Egypt decided to change the narrative. The Egyptian government invested money into the Egyptian league and collaborated with the Egyptian FA that, okay, in the next 5 years, no player leaves, no player enters. We are investing in the league and make it work.
So
if
it was
you remember,
like nobody can leave. No,
exactly
for 5 years.
Yes, if you follow that story, in 2008, when Egypt won the AFCON right here on our soil, immediately after the tournament, their number one goalkeeper signed a contract for FC Sion in Switzerland. The authorities cancelled the contract and made the player return to Egypt.
Wow.
Because the policy was that nobody was leaving. And for me, that is the only way out. Because the FIFA rules now wouldn't permit you to camp your players for 3 months, 4 months, as we used to do in the past, where the Black Stars or the Black Starlet can come for a whole year. The FIFA rules now says that 1 week or a few days to the match, the clubs are obliged to release the players. You can't have them, at best, you can have them for 2 weeks. And with that, tactics, rehearsal, and proper teaching is always difficult. So the only way out is to invest in our league, get our players to stay here, and build our national team around our local players. Pay them well to stay here, because they are going abroad for greener pastures. So if the FA collaborates with government and says that, you know what, we want to reduce spending on the Black Stars and invest in the league. Government is paying every Ghanaian Premier League player $1,000 a month. Each team is restricted to 23 players. Get them a contract, an addendum to the original FIFA contract that says that, okay, once you agree to take government's $1,000 a month in addition to what the club offers you, in the next 4 years you are playing for the Ghana Premier League. Unless you are an exceptional player, where a top club like AC Milan, Barcelona, that should be the caveat. Other than that, the next 4 or 5 years, once you sign your family members' witness, you are obliged to play and play here for the next 4 or 5 years. Mature before you can leave. If you're able to put that measure in place, it means that anybody appointed as a Black Stars coach can invite the top 20 players in the country and say that, you know what, between Friday and Monday, come to camp. Saturday, Sunday, go to your club, be it Kotoko, Hearts of Oak, Bechem United, whatever. Go play. Immediately the weekends, come back to camp. We can do that and camp the boys for over a year and prepare properly for subsequent African Cup of Nations. And believe you me, we're going to make impact, because football is more of teamwork than names. You remember at some point, Real Madrid had the Galacticos. David Beckham was there, Zinedine Zidane was there, Roberto Carlos was, name it. But they were not getting results because they had bought individual stars and they hadn't blended.
Not working as a team.
Exactly. So that is the only way out. Other than that, the supporters will keep screaming,
so
will be crying.
Going back to the beginning,
Yeah.
when we seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
What was in place then? What was the plan like? Did we have restrictions about how long they can play, or what was it about?
There wasn't any plan, but then player exodus wasn't that severe, it wasn't that intense. That was the advantage we had. Yes.
Was it because the clubs out there were not?
The Europeans had not started zooming in on Africa. So in the Bundesliga at the time, I remember in the early 90s, we had very few black players. Suleiman Hassani from Senegal, Tony Yeboah from Ghana, Tony Bafo, a few black players. Likewise, the other top European leagues. But now, they are seriously scouting talent from Africa. And so you either protect your boundaries and get your league working or you face the
So that
consequences.
began the downfall of
Exactly.
I see. And what you are suggesting was that plans should have been put in place
Exactly.
that would not make it possible for them to be
And the only
pushed.
way to put that plan in place is to pay them well. Because we are living in a democratic dispensation. If you are not paying me well, you can't restrict me from moving out of the country.
Can we compete with them when it comes to paying well?
No, we can't. But at least we can do better than we are doing now. Because now we are paying our Premier League players. Some are taking as low as 300 Ghana cedis a month. 500,
really?
Yes, 500 Ghana cedis a month. The maximum is between 1,500 and 3,000 cedis a month. And some are receiving winning bonuses of 500 cedis per game, 400 cedis. It is nothing to write home about. So such players, when they get a contract worth $1,000 a month or $500 a month in Tanzania, they will run and go and play football there. So we really need to plan.
So going, you're a young guy, but you know so much about the soccer. Going way back to the days of the Republicans.
Yeah.
And you know what was it different then, or was because the European League wasn't poaching them?
No, at the time, Nkrumah had a plan. Nkrumah had a plan of using football to unite Africa, using football to woo other African countries to share in his vision. And so Nkrumah is the only head of state that had a football club, like you made mention of, Republicans, poaching all the best players in the local league and putting them into one team. The idea was that anytime we needed the Black Stars and they were not ready, Republicans were ready to represent them. And so he poached 2 best players from all the teams. 11 Wives, Hazakes, Hearts of Oak. They fought him, but he knew what he was doing, so he ignored all of them. I remember there was an incident, a player from either Hazakes or 11 Wives by name Modibo To. They resisted that they wouldn't allow him to join Republicans, and Nkrumah decreed he was banned, a whole lot of issues. Nkrumah had a plan to use football as a tool to unite Africa. So Nkrumah is a different breed. His vision and everything is different from what we are seeing today.
Wow, that was Nkrumah's time. Let's come back to current. You know, what's up with the Black Stars? I opened it and I said I don't know too much. I just know the funny gossipy ones.
Yes.
Kwaku Yeboah, he was our coach.
Yeah, Kwaku Yeboah was our coach. Unfortunately, this current FA football administration took over at the time Kwaku Yeboah had won 2 matches back to back, using Kudus, and I think Kudus' first match for Ghana was against South Africa under Kwaku Yeboah. And according to Kwaku Yeboah, the FA executives warned him that these are unknown players. Be careful, if we lose, you have yourself to blame. And on that day, fortunately for Kwaku Yeboah, Kudus scored, and Ghana won 3-1 against South Africa in Cape Coast. After winning two matches on the trot, the FA decided to part ways with him for reasons nobody understood.
Wow.
I can only ascribe it to the situation where the president of the FA, Okraku, went on social media to openly criticize Kwaku Yeboah
on social media
during the 2019 AFCON, that a player that he manages, Kwaku Yeboah did not include him, and that player was better than some of the players who took the 2019 AFCON. And so from that angle, people thought that, okay, so he had a beef with Kwaku Yeboah even before taking over as FA boss. Because coaches are sacked for non-performance. And you can't sack somebody who has won 2 matches back to back just at the time that you took over. Apart from that reason, there was no reason why Kwaku Yeboah was dismissed. And even though we have failed to plan, in fact, Ben Kofi did something unique. He put in place a 5-year development plan. And we had the likes of Derek Boateng, Asamoah Gyan, Sule Muntari, Charles Taylor, Stevie Odro, that generation that went to Argentina 2001 and went to the finals of the Under-20. After 2001, he dismissed all the senior players and sent the chunk of that squad to Mali for the African Cup of Nations. So we were following that 5-year development plan. And these players matured, and we enjoyed their services up to the 2026 World Cup. They had all matured. Asamoah Gyan, Michael Essien, Sule Muntari, John Payne. So they were all part of the 5-year development plan put in place by Ben Kofi. We enjoyed the fruits of these players from 2006, 2010, then in 2014, diminishing returns set in. Unfortunately, after Ben Kofi's 5-year development plan, none of the FA presidents came up with any plan. So we just...
So when the plan ended,
that was it. That was it. So after 2014, the diminishing returns set in, and then the team started going down. So if you trace the Black Stars in recent times, we were losing finalists. Then we came to semi-finalists, to quarter-finalists, to 1/16, to group stage exit, and now struggling to qualify. So
just keep going down.
That's how the decline has been. It's very unfortunate. Yeah.
Whoa. Talking about was it Okraku who fired
Kwesi Appiah?
Kwesi Appiah.
Yeah.
Doesn't Kwesi Appiah, when he takes over a position like managing, have a contract that can protect him, or anybody who takes over can just?
You know, the way we treat Ghanaian coaches is very pathetic. I have a list on my phone where we've had about 50 Ghanaian coaches who have served in different capacities at the national team level unpaid for years.
Unpaid?
Oh, yes. But once they bring in a foreigner, they are quick to get him a contract that will protect his work. For instance, when Kurt took over, his maiden AFCON competition was in Cameroon. Ghana recorded our worst AFCON record under his regime. Before his takeover, Ghana's worst AFCON record was in La Côte d'Ivoire in 1984, the Boaké debacle under Coach Afani. We won 1 match and lost the remaining matches and came home with 3 points. Under Okraku, we recorded our worst AFCON record without a single win. Without a single win.
Wow.
We went to Cameroon and came back. When we came back, the public was agitating that we should sack Coach Milo because he did not perform. Conventionally, coaches' jobs are tied to performance. So when the public were agitating that we should sack Milo, everybody thought like, oh, for a coach to set our worst AFCON record since 1958, Ghana joined CAF in 1958, and he set our worst AFCON record. So it should be enough grounds for us to dismiss him. The FA said no way. They insisted that government should pay Milovan Rajvac $500,000 as compensation.
For what reason?
For reason you and I don't know. And they insisted, and the ministry had to pay. Meanwhile, before going for Milo, they had employed CK Akono. Even his salary, up till now, Ghana is owing CK Akono. Kwesi Appiah's dismissal, they were supposed to compensate him. They paid in bits and pieces for so many months until finally they were able to pay. So the treatment they give to the foreign coaches are pretty different from...
This looks like blatant discrimination against our own.
Oh, sure.
And who's speaking? Who's...
No. Well, unfortunately, unlike your era where journalism was about doing the job well and getting a name, in our time, it's about bread and butter.
Okay.
So, and now in our generation, the proliferation of private media houses has also worsened the case. Because, first of all, there's no proper job security. You are employed as a radio presenter, and you are paid 1,500, 2,000, 3,000. Some even take 500 Ghana cedis. Such a presenter, if any FA official invites him to his office and gives him $100, he sees the person as his god.
Yeah.
So you dare criticize the FA president, he'll
come after you. He'll defend him, protect him.
So it is making the job really, really difficult. And those of us who speak our minds are labeled as anti and are perceived to be evil. But for me, I don't really care.
What have you said? Yeah, going to laugh. What have been some of your personal challenges? You know, going and pointing things that come against the establishment.
Oh, I've had a lot of challenges. I remember Ghana went to play in Cape Verde and I was late. I went with one journalist from Adom FM. Apparently, the officials of the FA, in fact, one management committee member of the FA, saw me entering the hotel, obviously to book a room. So he ran to the reception to inform the receptionist that he should tell me the hotel is filled. So what made me realize this? 50 meters away from the receptionist, she was not smart. The FA official was standing by her. 50 meters away from where she was standing, she saw me from afar and started shouting, "I'm sorry, there are no rooms." I said, but how did you know I'm coming for a room?
How do you know? I misfire.
Oh. So I immediately informed the other guy that, you know what, this is planned. So you let's sit at the reception here. Other journalists will come and they'll be giving rooms. We sat there for a few minutes, and then one journalist from Joy FM came, and they offered him a room. And I said, but I thought you said
there were no more rooms.
No room. She decided to ignore. She didn't even respond. So we had to relocate to a nearby hotel. We face a lot of challenges. If you really, really want to speak your mind, you have yourself to blame. Even quite recently, ahead of the Qatar 2020 World Cup, we traveled to France to play a friendly game to prepare the team. We played our first game in was it in Paris? No, we played our first game. There were two games in two. Yes, we played our first game in Paris. The next game was in Spain. The FA had a match agent who arranged a chartered flight for the team. Some of the journalists I traveled with were offered seats in the private jet to move from Paris to Spain for the next game. A friend of mine who is part of the FA sent me a picture of empty seats on the flight. Wow. But when I inquired, I was told no.
It was fully booked.
Yes, I inquired from the minister. He said he's not aware of any arrangement. So I had to go for a private arrangement and join them. But I don't care because I know these are likely consequences.
What is it particularly that they can't stand about you, that you point out things that you think are true? What is it?
No, they think that, when you have money and you have power, you don't expect people to stand up to you. The football brand in this country is so powerful that when you become the FA president, you are up there. I remember when we traveled to Okraku's first international friendly match in Turkey. I met him in a hotel. His demeanor was somebody who was as if he had seen his rival anytime he saw me. So I called him and sat him there and said, "President, you know what? I've made an observation, and whether you like it or not, this is what I have seen. In the most recent election that brought you to power," and I told him in the face, "I didn't campaign for you, I didn't support you, and I wouldn't be hypocritical sitting before you just to please you. I'm being frank with you. But the truth is that the elections are over. You are now the FA president. So your demeanor of seeing me as a rival, I think we should
put it aside."
And he was like, "Oh no, it's not like that. Maybe I'm seeing things that way." I said, "Well, that's my observation. I've told you." Because I've always believed that you respect people, but you don't fear people. That's my belief as a Christian. So I just told him my peace of mind. I remember the Black Stars traveled to Serbia, and one FA official offered I and another journalist $2,000 that we should use to pay our hotel bills. The other journalist counted the $2,000. He actually handed it over to the other journalist. He counted the money and gave me $1,000. And I said, "You know what? Peace FM has paid for my bills. I don't need this." He said, "Oh, Jawa Sem." He put it in my pocket. I gave it back to him. He followed it to my room, went to put it on my bed. I gave it back to him. So eventually he said, "Okay, if you don't like it, fine." He took the money. When we came back to Ghana, the Black Stars were preparing for a World Cup. I don't want to be specific. And one of my producers went to the GFA. One of the errand guys at the GFA saw him and said, "Hey, your boss, they be also there or criticize CFA. And yes, can it be na command was FBA or GM." So immediately my boy communicated that to me. I called the FA president. President, that money you offered us, I did not take. So if the guy did not give you your balance, kindly call him for your balance. And I called my colleague journalist and said, Masa, I can't see my genius the balance coming was from So
wow,
these things they are normal for me. They are normal. I've faced them.
So you accepted them as normal, or something?
Yeah, because it is either you accept them as normal or you get out. Yes, they don't want you closer to the team. It's as simple as that. So it is either you accept it or you quit. But I've accepted it. I've never gone to any major competition with an accreditation.
They won't give you.
No. I remember in 2010, you know, FIFA gives accreditation codes to the football associations to share to journalists who would apply for FIFA accreditation for the World Cup. Ahead of the 2010 World Cup, FIFA gave out a certain number to Ghana. Sanidara was the PRO at the time. He shared to state agents, state media houses, and there were some leftovers. I called him and requested for one, and he refused. So I called Anson, who was then chairman of Liberty Professionals, and complained to him. And he called Sani to give me one of the codes. I used the code to fill the forms. FIFA replied everything. When I got to Brazil, I was the only journalist with code that did not get the accreditation. It never came.
Wow.
I kept sending emails. I've not received them.
Really?
No, me, I don't care. I don't care. Not at all. I don't care.
We're hanging out with Kwaku Yeboah. We're taking a commercial break. This is getting too exciting. When we come back, more of Kwaku Yeboah. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
I am Alan Shematin, the founder and leader of the Movement for Change and also the leader of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, otherwise known as the Butterfly Movement. Please keep on watching the KSM Show. This is not just because he's my brother, but he's the greatest of all. Keep watching KSM.
We're back, and as I said in the beginning, there is nothing like a dull topic. You can only have dull presenters. This man, fire. He makes everything exciting. By the way, I have heard that you have a way of introducing Sefa Kaino.
Yeah.
What?
You know, Sefa has been our boss for years.
Yeah.
For me, he's the face of Despite Media.
Yes.
He knows his trade so well, and we all look up to him. So it always excites me to meet him. So I took time to combine some of his achievements, some of his actions on radio, and I've been using it to introduce every morning. So anytime I go on radio, it's like, Kwaku, and I respond by saying, Ghana's joyful noise maker, a member of the Order of the Voter, Ghana's multiple award-winning journalist, presidential MC, Hall of Famer, Chairman to Brigadier General, Ghana's #1 radio presenter, Peace FM's Lano Messi, Soldier Pekin, Project 100 coordinator, and Ghana's Olympic torchbearer, Kwame Yeboah. The joy.
I love it. I have to. I come and record one from you for me when I'm going to stand up.
No problem.
But we're hanging out with Kwaku Yeboah, man, and like I said before, he just gets me into the story, whatever he's talking about. But let's go back to the sports and let me pick your brains on this. I didn't quite get the question why are the coaches not protected in the contract? I mean, the way Kwaku Yeboah was fired because somebody didn't like him because he didn't feel his player. That sounds quite illegal. There's nothing in the contract that protects coaches from...
Kwesi was compensated, but it took time. He was paid in bits and pieces. But some of us were surprised when it got to the 10 of Milovan, who had set our West AFCON record, and we insisted that based on non-performance, he should be sacked. The FA dragged the ministry that, you know what, we need to pay this man a compensation. Wow. And eventually they had to cough up $500,000 for the Serbian. Yes. Wow. After setting our worst AFCON record in the history of this country. It is sad, but you know.
Now, okay, so let me pick it up from here. Kwaku Yeboah leaves, and he's now the coach for Sudan.
Yes.
And they came to whoop. They whooped our ass.
You know one interesting thing?
Tell me.
This Black Stars team doesn't have a psychologist.
Okay.
You know, in the 21st century, football has become so scientific. And psychology has become an integral part of football. Successive FA presidents or administrations have had psychologists attached to the team. But this FA doesn't have a psychologist. Yet, they have room for Juju. It's interesting. You know when we played Sudan? I'll show you a picture on my phone. The FIFA and CAF rules are specific that 24 hours to the game, the away team must have access to the pitch to train. Ghana went to train on the pitch in Libya. You know, Sudan plays it home away from home in Libya. Ghana went to train on the pitch in Libya, and after the game, the Sudanese realized that they had gone to sprinkle onions and garlic on their seats and in front of the the dugout. And
you're kidding me?
Oh yes. And a report I had from Sudan said one of the players picked one onion and chewed it in front of Kwaku Yeboah and said, if your people, if they know how to do juju, you know, be here.
Just a laugh.
When it comes to juju, we are better than they'll tell your people.
Is that?
Oh, yeah.
Did this happen?
It is so embarrassing. I have the pictures on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah. In the 21st century, we are rather relying on juju instead of doing the right thing. Yeah,
so the team has no psychologist.
No.
But they have Juju consultants. Yeah, mobile.
Oh, it's sad.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad.
So anyway, Kwaku Yeboah now with Sudan and they beat Ghana. Any implications? Was there any angle from there? The fact that Ghana fired him, Sudan hired him, and he's brought the Sudan to whoop at us.
This morning, Chairman General Sefakan said, as for him, he's happy for Kwaku Yeboah because he used a statement. He said, vindication is in the womb of time. And he thinks that Kwaku has been vindicated because we had no basis sacking him. It was sheer personal agenda.
Yeah.
And now he's doing well. The Sudanese are so happy with him.
Wow.
Because, you know, because of the war, they're not even playing at home. They've played all their matches away from home. Wow. Yet they are doing well. Even in the World Cup qualification, they are doing very well. And
this is a war-torn country.
Yes. And I wouldn't be surprised if they should qualify for the World Cup. That would be a big history. Big history. Yeah. Very few Ghanaian coaches have done that. You remember in 2008, the late Sir Cecil Jones Atuquefiu became the first African and the first coach to qualify Benin for an African Cup of Nations. And coincidentally, Ghana hosted that tournament in 2008. So I'm praying that he does same with Sudan. He's doing well. And for me, it's good for him.
How did you get into sports? What was it that?
It's interesting. You know, growing up, my father was a sports enthusiast.
Okay.
You know, those days they were playing interdepartmentals. According to my mom, my father was an extraordinary footballer. He used to play with Ahmed Polo and the likes.
Oh, really?
In Tamale. He started his life in Tamale. And because of football, he was employed by PWD at the time, interdepartmentals. And at some point, he quit football for chieftaincy. He became a chief along the line. But his interest in football never died. So he used to buy sports papers, whatever. So I was reading them. Unfortunately for me, I was staying with my stepmom. And you know the titi stepmoms, you know. I remember on one occasion, my father went to buy the Sports Beat or Sports Eye. I took the paper I was reading. My stepmom was coming from behind. I didn't notice it. Chance I know a bit. I was so excited anytime I saw sports news. I remember there was this media stand in Aguna Swedro. Anytime I was given my housekeeping money, it was not enough to buy a single sports paper. So I'll go to a friend of mine. I was a Kotoko supporter. I'm still a Kotoko supporter. Just that the team is not doing well, so I don't care about them anymore. My friend was a House of Folk supporter. So I'll go to him and tell him that, you know what, let's add our monies up and go and buy Kotoko Express. After reading, we'll send it back. We'll go to the man and say, if Papa says, son, I am a to has news, I have a Kotoko Express. Now we sort us and give us the house. Wow. Because by then I had satisfied my Kotoko biases. Maybe I call no way has in him. They are quite has news in him. They are quite near the story. Papa had you know, could be as young as the buy house on pay. I was in today, and Pat was in my house news. Show me your club. Take it and go and read house news. After reading, we realized that if we take the paper home, there's no money for us to go and eat. So we hang around. If you come and you are flipping through the papers, then we whisper, house news, because you are near on top of an share which you know. Discount.
You entrepreneurs too.
The man, at some point, the man realized that was what we were doing. And one day he accosted us and said, you know, I've seen all the plans you've been deploying. You come here and tell me lies, your father plan. It's not the case. You know what? I admire your desire to read.
Ingenuity.
Anytime you come and read for free and go. It's,
wow.
So every
So I got you a free pass.
Oh yes. We'll just flip through and go back and go and chop out small coins. So I've been a sports enthusiast for years. But was it the fact that your father was a sportsman that was creating that excitement for you? That was it. You know, when it comes to football affiliation, political affiliation, our parents play a key role. You grow up into a Kotoko family, and it's very rare where your affiliation will be different. It's in very rare cases that you have a different affiliation. So I grew up into it. My father was a diehard Kotoko fan. Anytime Kotoko played and lost, you know, that time Kotoko was Kotoko, with the likes of Joe Debra, Abdul Golden Boy Razak, Thomas Boachi, the Zion Train, Papa Kun, Frimpong Manson, Ampia. You see, Adai Chenchen, Kotoko was Kotoko. And my father was so crazy about that.
Wow.
So that passion, I grew up with it.
I see.
But unfortunately, my father didn't want me to be a sports journalist.
He didn't?
No. That's what you'll be a person in doctor.
Was it sports say?
Oh, sports. So he was insistent that I should become a medical doctor. But I mean, who got to Moja Kranami? So he took me to Swedro Secondary School, and he was going to look for a science class for me. I got late admission, and he was told that the science class was full. So the only way I could get a science-related course and later divert into the main sciences was to do agric science. So I started with horticulture, agric economics, blah, blah. So what are all these nonsense? So I managed and finished secondary school, got a good grade. Then took the same grade to the university. At the University of Cape Coast, my first year I did physics, chemistry, biology, ADMAS. And we did the course with the sciences, hoping to branch into the main science. I didn't like it, so I didn't even bother to branch. So I pursued the agric, did the agric economics.
Okay.
What are all this?
Okay.
In fact, I had a roommate, he's a reverend minister now. Anytime we return from lectures, I just come and throw down my books and say, what are all these struggles? Telling me that could be TV, now it is woe. You just insult me and then we laugh over it. So one day, he tuned in to TV Africa. I was hosting a sports show there.
Wow.
And after the show, he called me, hey, who are you for?
You remember from back in the day?
And I was so, it's passion.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's amazing passion, eh?
Yeah.
So back then, you knew.
Yeah. Because from where I sat, I felt that it would have been easier for me to go through proper journalism training. Why am I saying so? Mr. Kojo Yanka, the former Central Regional Minister, Ashanti Regional Minister, is my direct uncle. And at the time, he was the rector for GIJ. So in my mind, getting admission into GIJ would have been very easy. But my father said, no way. You know what he told me? He said, Charlie, sports media, no, journalists, yes, indeed, medical doctor, Kwaku Yeboah, Dr. Yeboah.
Oh, wow. So he's alive now?
No, he died in 1998.
Oh, he died in 1998.
Yes, and
okay.
it's a very memorable day for me because that was the day Togo defeated Ghana during the Burkina Faso 98 AFCON.
Wow, that's what he died.
Yes, that was the same day.
It's very interesting how even your time frames and your frames of references are all soccer. You know,
it's
talk about how my father, the time Togo. Really?
Yeah, you are right. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's passion, so it's passion. I love soccer, I love boxing.
And you love boxing?
Yeah, my favorite.
Me, I used to, of course, I've never been, but growing up there, we remember that Ose Kofi, I grew up with Ose Kofi.
Malik Jaber.
Infum.
Kofi Pare.
That's what in it.
Yeah, it's true. In the, was it the 65 AFCON, Ghana, Tunisia? Yeah.
He actually scored a goal and it was the net?
Yeah.
I just thought it was something.
Even there was a picture I saw. You know, SSS Akom, he was a veteran photojournalist. He had a picture of the net, the torn net that was being repaired. Yes, I've seen that picture before. I'm sure the FA will have it. Yeah, so it's true. It's not.
Wow.
It is not an unnecessary story.
It's true. It's not in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but look at his stature.
Yeah.
Huge figure.
Yeah.
I've always wondered. You know, those days the Black Stars used to camp in Sawam on Hinijan. You know, Hinijan was in Sawam based. When that school morning as if for no proper feeding, but they were TikTok people. But then you to me for dietitian and Black Stars me size.
Dietitian no mamu. You know, fruits.
Yeah, so
you know.
Infum did that.
You know,
he's one of the few African players. He got the opportunity to travel to America early.
Infum.
Yes. You know, he played for Cosmos.
Oh, he did.
At the time, World Pele had joined Cosmos. With Abdurazak also went to Cosmos in America. I think around that time, World Pele. Yeah.
Oh man, show him some love, man. But then, apart from your being a sports enthusiast, we're comedy so. Yes, somebody told me, say, hey, KSM, have you met that guy?
It's unfortunate. I should have invited you for my comedy show. The recent comedy show I did. Yeah.
I heard about it after it was done.
Yes.
And I'm so, me.
Oh, I should have. But maybe next year I would arrange and put you on stage.
How did that go?
It was marvelous. In fact, I was overwhelmed.
Wow.
I was
It
overwhelmed.
was at the conference center.
Conference
right?
center, the place was filled to capacity. People were standing. I was overwhelmed, honestly, with huge personalities in attendance. President Kufo, Samira, big personalities.
Really?
Yeah. MTN, West Africa, boss, big personalities, and the place was filled. We closed around 1 a.m. where people were like, "No, you've closed too early." No, it's 8. 1 a.m. too early.
1 a.m. too early.
Yeah.
But tell me,
by grace,
have you always had that interest in comedy?
Growing up, when concert was in vogue, when they used to go on trek, Amachidede, Adolfo, Ebi Krentel, Smartin Cancer, name them. When they used to go on trek, our family house used to host them in our hometown. So I was an ardent follower of concerts growing up. Yes.
So all the top artists.
Yes, I watched Nanam Pedu live. I watched Bob Santo live. I watched Senior Didonko live. I watched Smartin Cancer, A.B. Krentel when he composed Anyenyu, who, he used it to create a drama. Mm-hmm. I watched it. I watched Mami Dokono and Ajwa Smart, Obra, a lot of the groups. Goodness. So growing up, I had that interest. And my mother told me that the first comedy group in Ghana, Jaguar Jokers.
Yes. Upia?
Yes. He said my uncle was part of the group. I don't know whether he was playing a backstage role or he was the main. He used to live at Insawum. My uncle, that uncle of mine, he's gone. He's dead. He used to live at Insawum. And my sibling, my senior brother, he was a very good guitarist. There is this song by Super Yafori. Ya num sigaya brantie, onya ye musu. When you hear popular that there be, Sadia Sikaya Brantie. My brother was playing the bass guitar for that man, Super Yafori. Yes. And on the day I staged my comedy, I sent my senior brother on stage. He was the best actor in 2003 during the concert party days.
Really?
Yes.
What's his name?
He was the leader of Oguaman concert party. And he uses Odinohu as his stage name. In that year, we had Ejako, Akrobetu, and all of them at the National Theatre. He was adjudged the best actor in 2003. So I think that it is something that is part of my family, and I have that interest as well. But this comedy of mine started like something to spice up our morning with myself and Sefa, because you can't just go. It's my sports is a segment on Sefa's show, so you can't just go and he introduce you and straight away it will be boring. So I started some storytelling and having fun, and the responses kept coming.
So you are building an audience who tune in.
Exactly.
Wait for Kwaku Yeboah to come.
Exactly.
So
at some point, after about 5-6 years, people were like, why are you doing this for free? You can commercialize it. Yeah. So the pressure kept coming until one day when Nana Jomo, friends of water bodies or something, he walked up to me and said, you know what, take 10,000 cedis as your capital. Go look for sponsors and go pay for conference center and mount the stage and perform. You can do it.
What's his name again?
Nana Jomo.
Show him some love, man. Show him some. Nana Jomo, what about you? Big up to you. Yeah. Really?
Yes. So I took the money and I said, no, this is a big challenge. I can't go and chop this money and go and hide. No. So I took it up and decided to write proposal for sponsorship. So I gathered a few sponsors and I started advertising. In fact, one funny thing was that my Peace FM colleagues, they were very supportive. Odia and Kain Sefa himself, Yalkesi, and all of them, Kofi Kumbelsin. Some of them would just go and sit on radio. Charlie, on the 23rd of August, at the conference center, meet Dan Kwaku Yeboah on the stage for a big comedy, blah, blah, blah. And afterwards, he meets me at the backstage and says, Masa, you know, go be anyone.
So basically, that was your first time going.
Oh yes, that was
my
my first
goodness.
show. Who shows I didn't meet me here, Masa. Uncle Pay Sound Lord, you will tell me and test us.
Conference center. You began on the top.
Oh yeah. And then on the day of the show, they thought I wasn't going to come to work. I came to work in the morning, had my usual laughter with Chairman General. Around midday, I was there. 4 p.m. I was Masa, now are you not tense? I was tense for what?
Now not tense.
It's an opportunity to express myself, to let people know what God has given me. So why should I be tensed? Hey, I don't know by Muslim. We just had pleasant exchanges. So I left the office around 5. Now we call Buki Alisa. I slept for a few hours, went to conference center to see the sound check, blah, blah, blah. Came back and went back. Honestly, I was overwhelmed. It will be now. My bed came corner me say I was at the backstage.
Yes.
But it one was Then I did a night of comedy and music. So it was comedy interspersed with music. At some point, somebody came backstage looking for me. A colleague of mine said, Masa, President Kufuor Mbekenjo said, "Won't watch on Wakwada until Wow." So we had to swap the last musician with my performance. Right? And interestingly, just before going on stage, my senior brother, we pretty much look alike. He came backstage and we were having a conversation. And the producer of the show said, Masa, are you twins? I don't know. So, Charlie, Musa Dodo. So you know what? When you are going to stage, go with him. You confuse people. So immediately we got to the stage, everybody was like, who is the comedian? Who is who? So people started laughing before I started doing the intro. It went I was overwhelmed.
Wow.
God has been good.
Show some love, man. But this one I find interesting. So, I mean, I don't know whether I'm shocked or impressed. On the day of that performance, your first huge performance,
Yeah. I was there till around 5 p.m. And my colleagues were, Charlie, you don't have any butterflies in your stomach? And I'm missing
because, wow. Because then I tell you, as many, I'm sure I said it before you were born.
No.
Today, when I have a performance,
yeah.
Oh my God, that day, my wife doesn't even see me.
Really?
Oh, no. I'm in character. It doesn't make sure. So, how do you go to work? Now, hey, the whole day.
Really?
Hey,
No.
Daddy, and then so tell him I'm 5. Why are they? Wow! You actually went to work before the show. I tell you, folks, I've done this thing for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
The day I have my performance.
You performing, yeah. Wow.
Oh, I'm impressed. Just the thing.
Yeah, my colleagues were like, why are you still around? Why are you still why shouldn't I be here? At the end, I'm not doing better. So why should I be here? So, by God's grace, it went very well.
Wow.
Very well. I was honestly, because we made provision for over 2,500 chairs, yet people were standing. Oh yeah, my big sis is married to former IGP Apietu.
Oh, I met her somewhere. That's your sister?
Yes. She called me and said she needed a ticket for herself and friends. I said, sister, okay, let me make arrangement and get you some. She said, no, I need to pay to support you. I said, okay. She bought about 5 VVIP tickets for that was about 2,500. She came and couldn't get a seat.
Wow. Wow. That is so impressive, man.
God has been good. Yeah.
Your first show.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, sir, you've been building an audience all this time.
Yeah.
Unknowingly. You are building an audience.
Unknowingly, because I got to know how people took that program serious when advertisers who wanted interview on the morning show were requesting that put the interview just before Sefa and Kwaku's interaction, so you keep people waiting. I said, oh, a lot of people have come to Peace FM companies to say that we want to sponsor that segment. And I love my boss, Father Dixon and Despite. What they said was that, you know what, when this guy travels, we won't get a replacement. No, my pressure said, and the Kwaku Yeboah no Jessica. No sponsor.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Kwame, Despite. It's not going to cry. Kwame.
But that senior brother of mine, who was a guitarist who died, he's funnier than I am.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he used to stay at Breku on the Winneba stretch. Anytime I was going to Swedro, I would just call him that, oh, bruh, I want you to accompany me to Swedro. We just to have a good laugh. We were passing by a cemetery. I said, Masa, me we are mentioning a man see me or quite home. And I'm saying, sir, yes, Obi a chuma, Ebiana made the Kabaga say, Quasiano de Mecano.
It's over quite said, no cry.
Yeah, it's so funny.
What are some of your jokes? I say, I know Bia, who will be.
Oh,
Kabiche.
Because every morning, sometimes in the course of our conversation, this morning like this, we're having a conversation about the Black Stars Juju. And I'm a chairman and say, it reminds me of back in the day, near Wakwabi were ye chrome. Na Nihinabo. All of a sudden, I can't say or comfort into Obekom upon Chino, Chichebia Mobia. So people were astonished and they were coming to see exactly what he was going to do. Sana knows why she didn't say no upon Chino, did a crowd number and watch Chimes. To a comes out go upon Chinida. After you also quit channel who was in our common channel says, most of them say I don't know, someone can claim. This guy, one day there was a team by name of the Stars. They went to him, so Uncle Yedru Mom. I said, okay, Monfam with Jensen, Monfam Brana, and from Guabos from them. And I just on Baba Johnson, Muksham, Obemini, and I only Jensen come out. Then they came for the Jesse, went to play, and they were defeated 3-0. No more bands. No, you know, so we 3. So Jensen, I'm on the man name of a bank sent one, Boson on Pep Bank sent. But there was one thing I said that I really had a lot of pressure. You know, there was an incident at Ashamai, and the soldiers raided.
When the soldiers went to
Ashamai, and you know, growing up, I stayed with these wee boys, so I know their tonation. Inti na me kache chairman Jena say, "Kwame, soldier for no mko bu Ashamai for no." Two guys were having a conversation, and I could say, "Jack, do you say they are soldier for boy Ashamai and Kaisle go and come back to me akoyesa." Then the other ghetto guy was like, by Isle Gwan there, some the nipa kumu ya there. See you come nipa ntino mbebo ya. Isle Gwan there jama ya. Omo penny paku.
Isle Gwan there jama na.
And my boss is at Isle Gwan called. Omo the dimato.
There is a executive so.
Siya la ukaka kasi asejire.
Ade kuri pa Isle Gwan there ya no ya. Enye jama ya.
Hello. But by God's grace, we've done a lot.
So, and hobby switch no can I say.
Yeah, sometimes in the course of the conversation,
there's
then
something
I
comes
create
up.
Something, yes. By God's grace, I'm able to do that creation.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I have to wait till next year as well as you.
Honestly, I wanted to do one in December, but because of the election, you say, NDC Ria Nasubesh, MPP Ria Nasubesh. I'm in Kayaza. What will you do now? We are not behind your corner.
Damn, Kwaku Yeboah, thank you, love, man. Oh, wow. Anyway, I'm so happy, say, and I'm no wakasa. You know, every now and then, I mean, Sefa can't show some who now I use the Kwakra, you know. And it was like, this was performing, and I'm saying, hey, really? And then say, you know, and you feel the conference center.
Yeah, God has been
Tell
good.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
That is amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that is truly amazing.
Thank you, sir.
But before I let you go, there's this thing that I want. So, boom, you play. And the junior sports, are there? I'm for
Yeah. People really believe that Juju works in football. But personally, I do not think so. But I've had personal experiences where teams have displayed Juju in my presence. In 2000 and I think was it 1999? You know George Ediso, the late George Edo. He was the chairman of Kotoko. I think he had some issues with Den Otumfo Pokuari and quit Kotoko for Swedro All Blacks. He took along some of the top players of Kotoko, Baba Amando and other players to All Blacks. And within that season, All Blacks were supposed to play Kotoko at the Swedro Stadium. The match was supposed to start at 3 p.m. When we got there, none of the teams had reported. And we were all like, 3 above, 3:15. What is going on? Then there was rumors all over that a Juju man had predicted that any team that would step foot first on the pitch will lose by 2-0. To be as over. Because of Kotoko for not dress we no because catch on my school down. So All Blacks got hint of what Kotoko had been told and dressed the under 20 players. And under 24 park and the supporters started chanting Ozi. Immediately Kotoko realized that All Blacks were on the pitch. They came in. And then the under 20 players went back.
And then the real team came.
The main team came. And lo and behold, they beat Kotoko 2-0 on the day. Yeah, I was there. I was there.
Wow.
Yes.
That whether or not it was a coincidence,
exactly.
It will prove somebody's case there.
There have been instances where it has failed as well.
Yeah.
I remember Kujo Fianu. For me, he's the longest serving football administrator. As far back as 1989, he was the team manager of the Black Starlet, the team that went to Scotland. They took the Starlet team to a Juju man. Now, at the time, he was a young man, well built. So the Juju man was just throwing his dice and say, hey! Then he pointed at Kujo Fianu. Who bet 2 goals? And Kujo Fianu said, me a team manager.
Team manager 2 goals.
Oh, everybody did the ties, huh?
I said, away footballer.
And the others are only as
Yeah.
And some too use psychology.
Yes.
I remember House of Folk defeated Kotoko 1-0 in Kumasi. Just before entering the pitch, Sabankwe asked a supporter to go and buy a crate of egg. And he gave 1 egg to each of the players. So just as they were entering the pitch, you get to the edge of the pitch, then you smash the egg. Hey, and psychologically, almost
because then we said
sometimes it works psychologically. But for me, I do not think Juju plays football. Even India and Benin should have won the World Cup.
Yes.
You can't tell me that with the present Black Stars who could through their question Real Madrid. Or show better.
Chase the love, man. Chase the love. Now, before you leave, you know, what is your final word for the Black Stars? People are calling for the coach to resign. There's all this. Where do you stand?
I do not think the problem of the Black Stars could be attributed to one person. It's multifaceted. One, Okraku has created so many enemies around the Football Association. All the experienced football administrators he came to meet, it is either you get your team relegated or he silences you or any other thing just to keep you out of the picture. George Friye contested the election after the normalization of our football in 2019. The most recent election, so in 2019, George Friye was a candidate, likewise Okraku, and Kurt won that election. The most recent election, when Kurt was supervising, he disqualified George Friye. And he's been antagonized till date. Alhaji Grusa, just last 3 days, alleged on my show that his team King Faisal qualified for the FA Cup finals 2 seasons ago. They had a case at the GFA that involved point deduction. So according to Alhaji Grusa, he alleged that Okraku called his chief executive officer, George Amakun, to assure him, and Alhaji Grusa said, and I quote, courtesy, hand go, hand come. So King Faisal should lose the FA Cup trophy to Okraku's Dreams FC, so the FA will award them points for the protest they had put in. So according to Gruza, they lost the trophy to Dreams FC, but eventually they were relegated. So another enemy created. Most of the guys that worked with Kwesi Nyantakyi, when Kurt took over, he dismissed them. This was after he had granted an interview on Joy FM that you can't work with your enemies. And he dismissed a couple of the guys who used to work with Kwesi Nyantakyi. Nanaya Amponsa, former Kotoko chairman, was so vilified, so much so that after leaving his own club that he formed, leaving the running of that club to another entity, and joining Kotoko as CEO, when his old club committed an offense, Curtis disciplinary committee banned Nanaya Amponsa for life from football, and he had to appeal to overturn the decision. Okraku Palmer was a candidate during the 2019 election. As we speak, he doesn't see eye to eye with Okraku. Abdul Salam Yakubu has gotten his team relegated. If you stand up to him, you have yourself to blame. So he has created so many enemies around him. Even we journalists. I remember one day I was on Star Times. We were having a discussion on the Ghana Premier League. And it was a match involving Kotoko. And I said that, you know what, if I were the Kotoko chairman, who was then an FA presidential candidate, if I were him, I would behave like Azuma Nelson. Always go to the field with my referee and all my accoutrement, because everybody knows that you are a contender of Kurt. And so no referee will favor you. Immediately after that statement, a call came from Kurt's camp to the owner of the station that I should retract and apologize. Apologize for what? Who in Ghana doesn't know that Nanaya Amponsa is your contender? I won't apologize. After leaving the show, the producer called me that yes, wow. It happened to Jerome Watchery, another sports journalist. He went on the same show, made a comment to the displeasure of Kurt, and after the show, they called him that he wouldn't appear on the show again. So he's courted so many enemies. And these are big football personalities who, under normal circumstances, should have rallied support for the
What is making him so untouchable then?
Because of the FIFA rule that says the FA is semi-autonomous. And it is also because in the past, FA presidents have compromised sports ministers. And in fact, it was only one sports minister who came out to lay that truth bare. That was the late Dr. Mustafa and the former President Mahama. When he said when he took over the ministerial portfolio, a few weeks later, he got some dollars, about $50,000 from the FA. Oh, honorable, the FIFA is giving out the any. I think the man was well to do. He was a medical doctor, so he rejected it. Afterwards, they went back to him to tell him that, oh, before you were given the position, the Black Stars went for a tournament and were given Cherokee. Each player was given a Cherokee. There was one remaining, one to give it to you. He rejected it. And he said, oh yes, they sell you to the Assyria colors. And he said, KSM na minister and I reject you over chess now. Assyria colors nifra. KSM one yard the young Pamono.
Orchestrate the whole
exactly.
school of
the problem of football now in this country is not only about just the coach. You know, when we went to Cote d'Ivoire, all of us were demanding a report post-tournament to do a proper diagnosis of the problem of our football. But this FA said, to hell with everybody. Chris Hughton, who was our coach, was the problem. So they quickly sacked him and went for another coach. Here we are. So we need to reconcile the football community. We need to sit down with government to lure government to invest in our football. We need to be transparent. The idea where the current FA president has as many as 5 teams that compete in the same league that he supervises. For me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
All his friends and cronies are club owners. Randy Abe has a team. Baseke, a football club, is owned by the Western Regional Football Association chairman. All of his guys, his chief of staff or secretary, Vision FC, all of them have teams. It is serious conflict of interest. Nigeria has dissociated the running of the league from the football association. They've had a league marketing company headed by a CEO to run proper professional league. Why can't we do same? Neighboring Nigeria. So our football problem is not only about sacking coach.
Yes,
not only
it's
about,
deeper
no,
than that.
It's
a
deeper
whole structure.
Yeah, so we have a long way to go.
Dan Kwaku Yeboah, y'all. Thanks some love, man. I have to have a special show again. Yeah, one no sports line. They say, why are you kidding me, pal? Hey, next time you see me here, the name because hey, this is who's sports so that we don't mind him. Don't mind him. Now say I done bad. Oh, there we go. It's been great having you, man.
Pleasure is mine.
Yes, and no, the
excited
pleasure is mine.
Meeting a legend like you. I've always watched you from afar growing up.
Yeah.
And it's a dream come true meeting you.
No worries,
I've really
man.
admired you from afar.
No worries, man. You are the Dan. Kwaku Yeboah. Show him to love one more time. And until we come back again with, I was going to say another exciting person, but
it takes a lot of discipline to maintain the momentum you've maintained for all these years. So, I salute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And on that note, I am out of. Thank you. Join me to say,
The KSM Show.